At 10 weeks pregnant, your baby has officially crossed one of the biggest milestones of the entire pregnancy, and most people have no idea it even happened. This week, tiny fingers are separating, vital organs are falling into place, and that relentless first trimester exhaustion you've been carrying. There's a very real biological reason for it. Here's the milestone nobody makes a big enough deal of. At 10 weeks, your baby is no longer technically called an embryo. From this week forward, they're a fetus. That word just means the most critical phase of organ formation is complete. Your baby is about the size of a strawberry right now, roughly 1.25 inches long, crown to bottom. Tiny, but doing an enormous amount of work. Those tiny fingers and toes are separating this week. The webbing that was there before is dissolving away, and the bones inside those little limbs are beginning to harden. The kidneys are producing urine, the stomach is making digestive juices, and the brain is growing at a pace that would genuinely surprise you. All of this is happening inside something the size of a strawberry. Now, the exhaustion. If you feel like you've been hit by a bus, that's not in your head. Your body is producing a massive surge of a hormone called progesterone, which is essentially nature's sedative. And that nausea that won't quit, completely expected at week 10. For most people, it peaks somewhere between weeks 8 and 10, which means you may be right at the top of the hill. The good news is that for the majority, it starts to ease as you move into week 11 and 12. That said, if vomiting is so severe that you can't keep any fluids down for more than 24 hours, that's worth a call to your provider. Severe dehydration in pregnancy is one that genuinely needs attention. You might also be noticing some new pulling or aching feelings low in your belly. Not cramps exactly, more like a dull stretch. That's often round ligament pain, which is just the ligaments that support your uterus starting to stretch as everything grows. Most of the time, round ligament pain is harmless and totally normal. But if the pain is sharp, severe, or comes with bleeding, that's the one to call your provider about, not because it's necessarily serious, but because they're the right person to rule things out. Outwardly, things are shifting too. Your waistband is probably getting uncomfortable. Even if you're not showing a full bump yet, your uterus has grown from the size of a pear to roughly the size of a grapefruit by this week. You might also notice your breasts are veiny in a way that feels new, or that the skin around your nipples has gotten darker. All of this is just increased blood flow doing its job. Your blood volume is already up by about 20 to 30% by this point. If you haven't had your first full prenatal appointment yet, it's likely coming very soon. Or maybe you've just had it. The first appointment is usually the longest one, and it can feel a little overwhelming. They'll go through your medical history, run blood tests, check your blood pressure, and if you're lucky, you might hear the heartbeat on a Doppler, a little handheld device that picks up the sound. It's fast, around 150 to 170 beats per minute at this stage, and genuinely nothing prepares you for it. Depending on where you are and what your provider recommends, you may also have a nuchal translucency scan coming up around weeks 11 to 13. That's an ultrasound that screens for certain chromosomal differences. It's optional and worth a conversation with your provider about whether it's right for you. And emotionally, if you've swung between genuinely excited and completely terrified in the same 5 minutes this week, that's not a personality flaw. That's just 10 weeks pregnant. Hormones, the weight of what's happening, and the fact that none of this quite feels real yet, it all adds up. You're 2 weeks away from the end of the first trimester, and for a lot of people that feels like the biggest exhale of the entire pregnancy. The risk of miscarriage drops significantly after week 12, and many people find that's when they start telling more people, feeling more real, breathing a little easier. If you found this helpful, be sure to hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next one.